Presently, millions of African Americans now feel empowered by the fact that we can publicly now call ourselves niggers while other racial groups cannot without risking possible ramification. But an African American possessing a correct mindset based upon historical facts would never want to call ourselves niggers. The fact that millions now does so is proof that our collective minds have been distorted. It has been turned upside down. Today, millions of African Americans don't have a mental reference of what Black liberation even looks like. This is why millions celebrated the Marvel's Black Panther movie as being a great achievement in Black liberation. However, the lead actor, the late Chadwick Boseman, was paid $2 million for the film. The film grossed over $1 billion worldwide in theaters, and it continues to make money in streaming and video sales. These billions of dollars goes into the white establishment fortifying the system of white supremacy that continues its subjugation of Black people. Millions of African Americans no longer have the slightest mental reference of what true Black liberation even looks like. Most therefore merely yearns for a comfortable position within the system of white supremacy. This current collective mindset that exists amongst many millions of African Americans clearly benefits the white society, and it's far too widespread to be coincidental. It's by deliberate design. It's always by deliberate design whenever the oppressed changes in ways that are beneficial to their oppressors. It's by deliberate social engineering of the African American culture. White social scientists knew that after the assassination of our Black leaders, that the Black masses would then perceive Black celebrities as being our informal leaders. They then exploited the ignorance of the Black celebrities by using them to negatively socially engineer the African American culture away from the ideology of Black liberation, which was so prevalent in the 1960s, because it was promoted by our true Black leaders. Because the white society controls the narratives that we receive, this allows them to control what we believe. They removed the thought of Black liberation from the collective minds of many African Americans by changing our definition of what a Black hero is. They changed the definition from being men like Malcolm X, Dr. King, and Rosa Parks, to being athletes like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Serena Williams. Black athletes are not Black heroes. This distortion of what Black heroes are was done to socially engineer the desire from Black liberation from the collective consciousness of the Black masses. Black athletes are paid millions so that the white establishment can make billions. They're even taught by their talent agents that in order to make their brand more profitable to a larger demographic, to stay away from Black issues and Black causes. They're strongly encouraged to avoid Black social issues to make themselves more marketable and therefore more profitable among the larger white population. Therefore, the Black masses have been brainwashed to regard those who are instructed to not stand up for us socially as being our heroes. We have been socially engineered to think and behave in ways that are against our own interests and that instead serve the interests of the white society. During the 1960s, African Americans were perceived globally as a dignified people that was seeking equality that we should have been born with. This perception brought much global support to the African American communities, and it even resulted in Dr. King being awarded a Nobel Peace Prize. These global response in support of African Americans totally embarrassed the U.S. government and also eroded its global image and standing in the world. White oppressive forces realized that to continue their subjugation of African Americans as a means of maintaining the nation's white social dominance, it had become necessary to socially engineer the African American culture into one that facilitated these objectives. They decided to erode the dignified image of African Americans through negative social engineering, through negative media social engineering. This is not some feeble-minded attempt to absolve ourselves of our own responsibilities by wrongly blaming good white people, as so many have been brainwashed to respond. Nor is this some silly conspiracy theory. Media social engineering is a real, covert, well-crafted system of control that allows the white ruling class to control the masses and targeted populations. The African American culture is being covertly, negatively steered by white oppressive forces through negative media social engineering. It's the truth that they hide from you. The white media has always represented a tyranny of the white society's power over black people. Most people naively believe that the media reflects our reality. But in truth, it is more often we that imitate what we see and learn from the media. A group's identity is greatly shaped by how they repeatedly see themselves being depicted within the media. People often becomes those derogatory media depictions of themselves or of their group as they've accepted as being their reality. It's a true science known as media social engineering. Therefore, whoever controls a people's media images literally controls their culture. Because the white society controls the media images of African Americans, this fact allows white oppressive forces, white social scientists, and white propagandists to negatively steer the African American culture. We African Americans are more susceptible to negative media social engineering because we were totally stripped of our true identity and culture during the enslavement of our ancestors. While being totally clueless of how ignorant such a statement is, millions of African Americans are now saying that we made the N-word ours and that using it now empowers us. However, not because many people believe something to be true doesn't make it true. It's often because they've all received the same false information. The narrative that we African Americans made the N-word ours and that using it now empowers us are both lies created by white propagandists to keep us from learning the truth. Those false narratives are believed and are repeated by those of us that are ignorant, naive, and gullible. These groups are usually the easiest victims of the white oppressors' fraudulent propaganda campaigns. It was actually white oppressive forces that socialized us to self-identify ourselves as niggers through the hidden science of media social engineering. Now, first they hired black actors to get onto movie screens and call themselves niggers, bitches, and hoes through black exploitation films. Black exploitation films was a term coined during the 1970s to refer to black films that were aimed at a black audience. They featured African American actors in lead roles. The films frequently depicted a stereotypical characterization and a glorification of violence, black violence. In those films, written, directed, and produced by white people, white companies, black actors were hired to shuck and jive and to repeatedly call themselves niggers. This nigger indoctrinating process was repeated and countless times in many movies of the era. Millions of African Americans flocked to these films and started imitating those derogatory white created media depictions of us that we accepted as being our reality. It was that era's black exploitation film that first socialized African American youths on a national level to call ourselves niggers, to think it was cool and trendy. There was a term of endearment to call ourselves niggers. Now they did it because words have power. Words put a spell over our subconscious minds. Currently, many black men believe that they're making an impactful statement when they declare themselves as being, I'm a real nigger, I'm a real nigger. But these black men are totally ignorant of their own ignorance. They are clueless of the fact that white social scientists intentionally attach the term real nigger onto black masculinity in order to get many black men to strongly embrace the term, I'm a real nigger. But the true reason they socially engineered us to self-identify ourselves as niggers is because it conditions us to perceive ourselves through a false, inherent subordinate identity that aids the white society in maintaining its social dominance over black people. Because in order to subjugate and control a targeted population, the first step is to neutralize their alpha males, aka those possessing warrior spirits. These are also the males that are psychologically wired to protect our communities and our women. White social scientists neutralize the black alpha males by socially engineering millions to self-identify ourselves as niggers. They did this to us because words, when repeated often enough, have immense power over our subconscious minds. Repeated words shapes our thoughts, and our thoughts, when held long enough, becomes a belief. A belief then becomes our biology. We psychologically become the words we repeatedly call ourselves. It's why men that call themselves thugs are more likely to engage in a fight than to avoid one. It's also why women that proclaim themselves as being bitches often become stubbornly unreasonable. Words put a spell upon your subconscious mind. We function based upon the words we assign to ourselves. This is also the reason why 90% of black men that are sagging are also the same ones that are calling themselves niggers. It'll be hard to find a black man who doesn't call himself a nigger sagging his pants. They sag because they think that as niggers, that's how they're supposed to dress. They're supposed to sag because they're niggers. Words we repeated often enough place a psychological spell upon our subconscious minds. It's a psychological phenomenon that white social scientists have thoroughly researched. When we repeatedly call ourselves niggers, this conditions us to perceive ourselves through a false, inherent, subordinate identity that aids the white society in maintaining its social dominance over us. When we call ourselves niggers, this also separates us from our unifying African heritage. Without having a base identity to connect us to, as a people, over time, we become further fragmented and we become weaker as a people. And we can be made into anything the white oppressors wants us to be. Self-identifying ourselves as niggers also psychologically divides us from Africa. When we Africans are divided globally, we lose our global numerical advantage and lose all hopes of defeating global white supremacy. We also treat others based upon the words we call them. When we call each other by the N-word, we dehumanize each other, which makes it easier to mistreat each other. This is a fact that the military has known for centuries. Case, point, and proof. During the Vietnam War, to ease the American soldiers' anxieties about torturing and killing the Vietnamese soldiers during interrogation, they were taught to refer to them as chinks, gooks, kongs. This to humanize them and made it easier to kill and torture them. Use this often with black people. Case, point, and proof. Have you ever listened closely whenever a black man speaks of a previous fight against another black man? As he presents the details of the fight, he will say that I hit that nigger, I kicked that nigger, I shot that nigger, etc., etc. The term nigger is being actually used to dehumanize his victim, to humanize the other black man. If you ask the speaker to retell the details of the story, but now using the word black man for his opponent, or my brother, he will then become psychologically, he will start psychologically struggling to tell the same story. The more brutal that his behavior was, the more difficult it is to tell the story, now replacing the word nigger with black man or my brother. He needs to dehumanize his opponent to tell the story. He may even become angry for being asked to tell the story without dehumanizing his opponent. When we assign negative words upon each other, we dehumanize each other. This makes it easier to mistreat each other. This is also why black men that refers to black women as bitches and hoes have a higher tendencies of mistreating a black woman. These noted factors are the reason why white oppressive forces socially engineered millions of African Americans to self-identify ourselves as niggers and to call each other niggers through negative media social engineering. White oppressive forces have placed an elaborate negative spell upon the subconscious minds of millions of African Americans with the word nigger. The white prison industries is also filled with black men that have been programmed to believe that they're real niggers. White social engineering scientists deliberately program millions of black people to believe that they're niggers to achieve these noted objectives. The nigger media social engineering of the African American culture still continues today, is being reinforced and reapplied unrelentingly daily through the white controlled hip hop industry. White oppressive forces, the ruling elite, secretly perceive black rappers as being useful idiots. In addition to making lots of money by exploiting them, they use them to negatively steer the African American culture. They also use them to vilify and criminalize the image of African Americans, which makes the white society's justice system's mistreatment of African Americans always appear as being justifiable. Don't be fooled. If the oppressors were truly superior, they wouldn't have to work this hard behind the scene to handicap those whom they claim are inferior. The reality of this whole situation is the white oppressive forces are playing chess, and black people are not even playing checkers. We're playing hopscotch. We need to elevate our minds, understand the war has been waged against us, and then develop counter strategies. One love and peace.